Okay, we go. All right, here we are. We're live. We're going to do some pairing here. Dimitri and Sam. We started last week on this tennis cutter that I hadn't seen before, that Dimitri introduced me to. Raphael's here, just seeing what we're doing. Yeah, so yeah, this was the tennis cutter. I think the last thing well, yeah, I can't remember whose turn it was. I'm more than happy for you to drive. But I guess actually, if we look at the because we've got the full Git log, that's one of the reasons I'm a big fan of doing the GitHub Pong, is that we end up with a Git record of exactly what happened, so we can look at who did the last commit, and the last commit was me. So I think it might well indeed be your turn there, Dimitri. I guess we should just double check that we've both got the latest code. Let me come in here, tennis Kata, there we go. Yeah, we'll put the screen on yours. Let me see if I get pull. There. Okay. Yes. I think I just updated the README just to do a Git pull, because I think just since last time I just updated the README to include like a link to the the Kata thing, just for reference.
Okay, I did. So okay. So we have fade and test.
Yeah, I think we do. Yes, yes. We've exposed. I think that is it. The floor. Yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah. You drive. I'll follow along.
Okay. Okay. So 1240. Okay, passes now. Shit. Need to write another test. So
yeah. So you just got the player 2 wins 3 points in a row.
What if you win 4 points in a row?
Mm-hmm.
You're in advanced state or something?
Well, I think if you win 4 in a row like that, then no, I think you've won. It's like
Really?
player 2 wins. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. If you're 40 love up there, then you've won.
So what?
I mean, it's interesting how we represent the score. We could just have the score print out player 2 wins if we wanted.
Yeah, I guess it would be the best, because on the other hand, we need to know the score.
Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, at Wimbledon, when they do it, they kind of, they end up sort of throwing out that score, and the important information is have you won the game, and then for the final result of the match, how you won that individual game, whether it was like a tiebreaker that went 17-18, what have you. I mean, I think they obviously they do, you can, like, for the stats purposes for long term, but in terms of determining the ultimate winner, I mean, it sort of depends how I've had these kind of content before where they basically sort of refer to Wikipedia and say, oh yeah, like do that scoring thing. So I think we've got a certain amount of flexibility there, actually, how we want to interpret it.
Yeah, so you could say there is no score for win, actually.
No, there's no like love 50. It's just somebody won. There doesn't seem to be a representation.
Maybe player 2 wins will do then. Okay. Okay, I did player 2 wins, and it's your turn.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, so if you push that up, and I'll pull that down.
Yeah.
Oops. Okay, and let's run the tests and check I get the same failure. That yep. Okay, so doing these now. Oh, that hasn't updated there. So yeah, I mean the simple thing there to extend this is to have that as when 040, then that becomes player 2 wins.
Yeah.
The case right there. So hopefully that will pass. Commit -am allows to win after. So he's got 4 points in a row.
What is
Tom?
A is all? Dash A.
That's right.
All files?
That means so that means that I don't have to add any. If the file is in it already, I can just do like that, and I don't, and then it's done.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So it saves me a line of.
You have the same. You have the same alias as I do.
Oh, for git status. Yeah. Yeah, I should.
Yeah.
Someone was saying that I should maybe get some of the like the pull. And I need to sort out some more aliases, but yeah. So then we have the interesting thing about the next test. Well, and so last time I created this one where that they were player 1 and 2 were both winning a point, but we sort of put that off because you wanted to take this player 2 wins a point sort of to its extreme. Have you got an idea of what you want the next test to be, or have we now followed the kind of your line of reasoning there as far as you want it to go?
It's up to you whether you want to flesh out your winning, or do you want to go with. It's up to you.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not too worried about well, or at least I'm thinking more about what's the next sensible. I mean, I guess basically now we could have player 2 wins 5 points in a row, but that doesn't have any meaning in tennis. So it seems like having a.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
In some ways, I guess we could have like an error case there, which would say that we could if we had player 2 wins 5 points in a row, then it kind of gets into an it should almost throw an error, right? Shouldn't it? Would you say?
Yeah.
But I can almost imagine here.
Just throw exception, maybe.
Yeah, it's sort of.
Know.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, it could return a score that would just say burp, burp, or I mean, there's. I guess the. It's an interesting question there, always about is it exceptional behavior? Is it right to just sort of stop and force the person who's using the system? We could expect that to raise like game over kind of error or what have you.
Like raise underscore error.
Yeah, there we go. And that's and this is the thing I find with toy kata is it's you can argue both ways for whether that should be whether it should be raising an error or for whether we should just expect the output to be game over. No more points.
Well, it's not game over. It's just.
Well, no, it's yeah. Well, you're right. You're right. It's not. Sorry, go on.
I'm thinking maybe you are right because maybe game over is a good user-friendly message and not you can score after you won or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, this would be. I mean, I guess it could be. The interesting thing with this is it could be that it would just any further activity of winning points could just be that it just says player 2 wins because let's say that it was that they won and they carried on playing and they did some more points and I won a point, but it's sort of it's kind of. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? You could almost see, if you were writing the system to manage the scoring for the sets and so on, then having got to this point of player 2 wins, actually at this point, this would come back to being love 15 as well. Oops, you know what I mean?
Sorry, love 15.
Yeah. This, so like in tennis, you know, like it depends if the kata, and I think the kata is like, if we go back to the kata.
You mean the next
Yeah, the next game.
the next game?
Right.
I think no. I think it's just.
Yeah, I think for our purposes,
you have to make a new tennis game to do a new tennis game. I think that would be better than reuse.
Very, very possibly, yeah. I mean, it all depends on the kind of interface that we want to draw. I'm sort of assuming that actually we probably don't want to get into managing the sets and so on. Like, we want to keep it, you know, simpler. And so, but I'm tempted to almost leave that as kind of this corner case is less interesting than trying to make these things like we know whatever, you know, what, like if we do go up to 5, there's an obvious inclusion and next step there. I think, I mean, at least this was the test that I was thinking about next, but I wonder if that's the one that I want. I mean, we could also, I guess we've done, what have we got there? We've got, come on. We've got the player 1 thing has only won, 3 points in a row. I mean, I guess I mean, I guess the natural thing might be to just see to extend the approach that I took as far as the as far as you done, and so
that will be interesting.
Yeah, and so we call that player 2 wins. So player 1 wins 4 points in a row, like so, and there we go. So, okay. No, let me.
You don't comment that test.
Yeah. There we go. So we've got, so this is now. No, in fact, actually, it shouldn't be player 2, should it? It should be player 1. That's the correct test. There we go. And so here, we commit minus AM, and this should be failing test for player 1 winning in straight points. Okay, so that's back to you.
Okay. I have this for git pull rebase.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For which command? Unfortunately, the position of the Hangout things means that I can't quite see your. Do you want to just swap sides for like you've got your terminal on the, I don't know, the right hand side. Can you swap it over to the left hand side?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, you've got GPR. Oh, okay, you've got GPR to git pull rebase. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna write that down. I should sort out my.
What the fuck is it not? It's not moving further up for some reason. Really weird. Okay, so we got a failing test, and I'm gonna fix it. Well, it kind of doesn't work with increments here. So need to do the same actually. What is gonna be?
It's gonna be 40.
Let's see. It's integer.
No, yeah, integer. Yeah, it is. Now, do you want to return that there, or did you want to set the score
Right.
equal to that?
Right. What?
Mm-hmm.
15, but missing something.
You all right?
Yeah. Player one wins, and I got 40-0.
Are we? I wonder. With 3 to 40. That's interesting. Now, I'd be tempted to get in there with a buy box statement, but
Is what?
with to debug it, I'd put a buy bog in there to stop it and check what's coming through.
Yeah. So it's 40.
So yeah, maybe it's not being returned.
What
In the way
about
that...
end return?
Okay.
Oh, that's tricky.
Yes. Well, and it's interesting because there's a lot of code systems that set that we've got Code Climate on a lot of our Rails projects saying, oh, you must use the double and. But I think actually when you're wanting to do an early return on certain times do it in Rails, you need the written and. It's funny, isn't it?
Oh, it's freaky. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, make it.
Okay. I'm not gonna commit it. I'm just gonna commit it with both of it. Okay, so player one wins, player two wins, and we can actually go to both.
Yeah, I think that's now the key. We've kind of developed two different approaches that both work.
Yeah.
Both very different, but both of them are kind of they're in this special case of the individual player. You know, a kind of a straight game.
You need to fix both of them. That's
but there's this. Yeah, absolutely. There's the very clear situation of the people both winning a point, and so yeah, they'll both affect both of them. Yeah, but both players win a point. Yeah.
And Here you go.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Okay. And yes. Yes. Reload, please. Okay. We have the updated code. So we now have, first off, we're calling player 1 wins a point. Then we're calling player 2 wins a point. And so actually, the critical change here for this is going to be in the player 2 wins a point. I mean, there's another test which would have them doing it in the opposite order, which maybe we will look at next. I'll just pop that in there. I'm thinking about it. But so here we're getting nil. Now that's interesting. And why are we getting nil? So we're starting off in this one with player 1 wins a point. We'd expect it to come through. We'd expect the score at that point to be 15-0. And then we okay. Right. So then we come in here and we don't have a case for 15-0. So basically, okay. So we've got the kind of because the case statement doesn't have a branch that corresponds to it, it's just going to end up returning nil. So the simple fix for that is to take the case there and say, right, that's going to be like so, I think. Let's see. Yes. So that works.
Yeah, but I don't really like player 2 being the first to score. Or
being the first one. In this case here, it's player 1,
yeah,
the first one.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, we need to do the other way around. I'm just doing the simplest thing there. I mean, I'm also tempted to sort of, this method's getting long, and maybe both of them are getting quite long. There's refactorings we could do, but I guess that's maybe less important at this stage when we're kind of trying to work out what the approach is going to be for either of them. I mean, it seems like, clearly this thing could just become a big case statement, and it will extend, for all of the situations. I guess, but anyway, I should stop talking and maybe add this additional test here. So in this case, we get a different kind of failure. But so I could push that back to you. This is kind of where allows player 2 to win points after player 1, but adds failing test for reverse. And git push. Yeah, back to you.
Okay. Funny how it goes. We need such a necessary test, so to speak. But maybe it's not so necessary. Expected 15-15. Got 15-0, so that means that player 1 scored, but player 2 didn't score.
Oh, good call. Yeah, just changed it.
Okay, so player 2 scores. All right. Player 2 scores 015.
I don't. I have.
Then player 1.
Yep. Go on.
And then player 1 scores.
Mm-hmm.
And we get 0 here, which we assume to be 0, but it's not really 0.
Mm-hmm.
So we need really a
I mean, you could pull out like a player 2 score, right? Are you going to try and pull it out in one go?
On the other hand, well, just gonna refactor it. Just gonna refactor it first, and then we can. And then we can.
Yeah, I mean, if I was you, I might just copy that player 1 score line, and then to pull out player 2 score, and so then just it would maintain the player 2 score. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but it seems like
That's cool. So refactoring is good too.
a good place.
Yeah, I think removing regular expressions generally is going to increase the readability of the code. So it's all good.
Because it's kind of silly to do such a regular expression when we know it's there.
Yeah, no, it's more complicated than is needed. So.
No. Let's go. And now your lecture looks interesting. Your method is kind of shorter, which makes it look better. Much better than mine.
Yeah, I like your refactoring.
Thank you. Okay, pass the test. Then I need another test. Wins 2 points. Player 2 wins 1 point. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. I think it's the way. I mean, it makes. I don't know. Did I showed you the tic-tac-toe thing that I did last time? As this gets longer, it makes me think that kind of one can. Oh, but like one almost wants to like have a notation that specifies like the structure of a game, so that rather than it being written out in Ruby, like that you can have just like it written in some syntax and then it basically shows you the score at each point in the game, and then you'd have the test system interpret that and then make sure that all of that worked, and it would be much easier to maintain. I think probably not something we should do now, but I think if we were hoping to manage this test suite in the long run, we want to move towards something like that.
Here you go.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So 30-15 nil. Yes. So we end up with another thing here where we can. What is it? What is this doing? Where are we here? We're expecting 30-15. So we were on 15-15, and that should make it. No. What have I done wrong? Oh no! Wait. Player. What's the? Hold on. Oh, player is. Sorry. Okay, I've done that wrong. Oh, right. We've got player 1 is winning 2 points, and at that point, so player 1 has won 2 points. So that should come back as 30-0. Okay, and then the input to here is going to be. I just had the order the wrong way around. So that's going to be 30, and that's going to be like so. Would allow it to pass, but in a very boring way. And I'm starting to see patterns emerge there, which is that we've got player 2 winning a point. So all of these are involving increments on the right-hand side. I mean, I can see 2 ways to refactor this. I mean, one is to pull the mapping out of the case statement and just have it as a 1-by-1 mapping that I can tell from the sound that you're making that that's not appealing. It seems like, I mean, we've got this. I mean, we know that there's a mapping here, and that's sort of a trivial way to go. So we're not really interested in doing that. I guess the other the tempting thing is to maybe refactor it towards the way we're doing the player 1 thing, which would be a reduction of the code. Like in principle.
Well,
I don't know. Go on.
Actually, I think it's straightforward to make a mapping because that's the natural continuation. What's is here?
Yeah, in this method, I agree. I agree. Go on.
Yeah, maybe something will emerge from.
Well, and that was the thing that I did. I don't know yeah, that was the thing that I did last week. Like I kind of wrote out, if I can find it, the full mapping. There's a kind of thing though with the mapping, like it's not, and that's why I think this is why this is a kata. It's not like when you get into the deuce situation, the mapping ends up, you kind of you would end up with sort of an infinite map in order to support it. No, I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. I was just trying to find my note. Oh yeah, I've got my note on it on here. There's like maybe you don't, but yeah, so there's kind of a mapping from number of points that they've created to this thing, and then there's kind of a rule that determines the rest of the potentially infinite series. I mean I've made this test pass. I mean, I guess there's a window here for me to do a refactoring. I could easily take, like, we could replace this with making this one generic for player. But which direction would you like to go in here? What's your preferred direction?
I want to keep the second, like
in this
the
structure.
second approach.
Yeah. Okay.
At least it works for now. So
sure. Oh yeah. Well, maybe
we can.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
We can kind of maybe improve it a little bit, not
but not change it too much. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, the kind of
not exactly mapping, but somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering. I mean, what we could create, like, the mapping and kind of, map these things like this, right?
Just 0 goes to 15. No. I mean, a little bit different.
You want to map it like on the individual.
Yeah. I want to map individual.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like this maybe.
We can do even numbers. I think numbers are more concise. Or wait, do we have player 2 wins? So that's kind of.
Well, yeah, but we don't want to try and solve too many problems at the same time. Yeah? Like we could do like a simple refactoring that deals with some things like this.
Yeah.
And so there's, I mean, the fact that you're suggesting dealing with the individual numbers, it kind of indicates that we want to split the score up, right?
Yeah. True.
It's
the same.
Tempting.
The same splitting code.
The same thing. So we can take the splitting code.
Yeah.
And so now we have this. No.
Yeah. True. That's right. Yep. That's right. And now we can use mapping too.
And then here, so basically, this is player 2 wins a point. So we could be using the mapping.
Yeah. True. Yeah, exactly.
So we can look up on this mapping player 2 score, and that's what the new player 2 score should be. I mean, it's not quite for this. That's going to fail, but let's worry about that in a minute. But so then we would restructure the score. It kind of becomes like this.
Yeah. Just remove the increment. From player 1.
Yeah. So
do you need that commented out code?
No, I'm just holding it there for a second. I'm not going to leave it there for the commit. I'm just sort of holding it there as I reflect on the two different things. And so we've kind of got this situation here where, like, it becomes closer. Like, actually, for this mapping, if we're reconstructing it like this, that's kind of silly to have that mapping, isn't it? So I'm tempted to lose that and have this.
All right. I didn't notice that.
Like so. And then I just check to see if it passes. It does. So we can remove that. And so, boom. I guess we can even simplify it like this. And interestingly, the two methods are looking a lot more similar.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's this is passing new test and refactoring player 2 wins methods to use mapping And so then we want another kind of failing test. Now it'd be interesting if it actually may be quite difficult to generate a failing test until we start getting up into the deuce situation. But so if we can move towards that with and then player 2 wins 2 points. I mean, the order for these is not particularly important. I don't.
Yeah, let's continue with scoring.
Yeah. Now that may pass, and it has, because we've actually. So this is always the interesting point: is that we've done in that refactoring, we've done more than we needed to make that previous test pass, which is maybe bad from a TDD point of view. But I think we won't kill ourselves over that. So then we've kind of got, and I'll maybe just carry on here to get us to the next kind of interesting era. So here, player wins 3 points, and player 2. So then we've got 3 times. That should be 40-30, like so. I think that will just pass, yes. And then we've got to here. So let's just have player wins 2 and wins 3. That should be points. So okay. Now that's interesting. Have I just got it wrong? Yeah, no, that's my test is wrong. So that, yep. So then I think we finally come up against the why this is a kata that of any consequence is that if we have 3 points each, then this should be deuce.
Right.
And now we have a failing test because tennis works differently and there's no 40-40. So yeah, I get here with this is fills out tests for refactored code and adds new failing test for deuce. And that is up to you.
Okay, so I need to read up about deuce. If both players have 40, then it's deuce. 50 and 30, 40, right. Okay. Both of them have 40. Well, it's easy to write a conditional. It's kind of.
You didn't like it?
No, it's okay. I just want to work until I remove morphine. Because you need to score first. If I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah. Although, yeah.
I think keeping it simple is
No.
better. I mean,
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
mentally in here. Interesting. We need reverse test. I mean, not reverse, but
Yeah, the test where the player 1 takes us to deuce rather than player 2 takes us to deuce.
yeah. You know what I notice is that I would never write 2 approaches if I was writing
by yourself.
alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I would never write 2 approaches.
I think it's quite a nice symmetry that we kind of took 2 approaches, but then they're kind of moving towards the same place. I mean, or they're moving towards a place where we can refactor out some similarities. Have you got a new failing one? Have you?
Yeah, about it. Yeah. Excuse me, I'll go to the toilet and be back.
Sure thing. I'll put it down. Make sure it runs. Raphael, are you following along, enjoying yourself?
Yeah, just kind of lurking in the background, watching what you guys are doing.
Sure. Yeah. Any questions about what we're doing? We kind of started. We did an hour last week to get the So
well, it's kind of Ruby, which I'm not overly familiar with. I've had some experience with, and the X specify threw me earlier, but I realized that's just removing a
temporarily like it's a way of avoiding it.
Yeah. You're hitting the juice problem now.
We are. And so in principle, I can just make that, solve that in the same way that Dimitri just solved it. I guess. No, apparently not.
So I noticed that you're using 2 different methods for
player 1 winning a point. Yeah.
And you're intentionally doing them differently?
Well, not. I mean, we just sort of intentionally is a strong word. When we started, like initially the first things, we just wrote this out, and then as a result of the ping pong, it just sort of emerged. Okay. And then as the differences emerged, we kind of were interested in them and sort of maintained them. So that was that's how it's gone. Now the interesting thing, I had thought that I was going to have a simple operation to just have the deuce work again in the player 1. So Dimitri got the deuce working in the player 2.
String won't be split, will it?
Well, I mean, here in both cases we are pulling out the player 1 score and the player 2 score. So but
that's not going to work for juice.
No. But here, this has worked, right? Dimitri just did it for this test, right?
Yes.
He got to here, and he added that code here that detected that the player 1 score and the player 2 score after the increase were equal, and then it would set it as deuce. So that one worked. So the failing test that he added was just to reorder, like have player 2 do it first and then player 1 do it subsequently. So I had naively assumed that if I just copied the code that he had here into this method here, and we're going to like refactor these two together, but I thought that that was just going to work there, and it hasn't for some reason, and I don't know why. And I know why it is. Yes, I think I now know why it is. It's because actually what we should be doing here is doing that. Like so.
Yeah, it's becoming similar.
They're becoming more and more. We're boiling down the difference to becoming this method of incrementing versus this mapping.
Yeah.
And that we're getting a lot of other similarities there. It sort of, I mean, I can see all sorts of possible refactorings as a way to clean up this code. It seems like we could extract all the pieces that are similar to the two in order to like avoid this duplication.
Yeah, we could. I personally feel that it's not the time yet to do it.
No, well, I'm happy to follow your lead. I'm very happy to follow your lead. Yeah, I'm just sort of looking at, I mean, I've got that test passing there. Yeah, I mean and absolutely there. I think there's often a danger of premature refactoring when you haven't seen, you know, the pattern. So we're at a stage here at which we've got certain things supported, but they're, you know, we haven't dealt with this advantaging thing, and yeah, so maybe it's too early to do any refactoring. So if I've got that to part, I guess the interesting test case to move on to is a situation where we have here, if player 1 wins 4 in a row here, then it should be player 1 advantage.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the other thing that I'm thinking as well, I mean, the other thing that we've done now, and that we've actually there's a thing that we've done here, is that we are continuing to store the full state of the game as the score, and then resplit it up each time. And it could be that we just like, rather than doing this, that we could be storing the actual points totals for the players. Anyway, I'll stop there.
True, but then we'll lose the text, or maybe not. Well,
no, we can restructure it each time. Oh, no, that's interesting. Why has that gone to 15? And then that's an interesting failure there. I would say that's 4 times. We're hitting player 1 wins a point there, and I guess is that trying to, because the player 2 score. Oh, that's interesting. Why that's like so here we've got player 2 wins 3 points and player 1 wins 4 points. Player 2 wins 3 points 3 times, and player 1 wins 4 points. So it would get to I think I know, right. So that's interesting, because what we've got there is the score coming in at this point is deuce, and so it's trying to split the score and then convert these things, and it's just going a bit nuts. Okay, but that's a reasonable error to be on, I think.
Well, I'm kind of taking back my statement, and I think if you can extract the split into a method, if you can, but so to remove duplication, basically.
Sure.
So we can have the same in both methods. So yeah.
Well, I think yes, I mean, I can imagine I could be extracting that, and then we could be adjusting that method. We could adjust that method to be able to return something different in the case of it being a deuce. But I'm also noting that I'm about running out of time for our session today. So I think I think what I'm going to do there is I'm going to put that in, and maybe we can carry on another time. I think it may seem like, oh no, but it's sort of it's right. I think that we are at a kind of like apex of possibilities and different directions, and so yeah, let me put it. So this is now passes Deuce the other way.
Apex is like summit, is it?
Yeah. It's sort of, there's a kind of, I think there's a, it's sort of, there's a point at which, there's like an explosion of possibilities, and then there's sort of a collapse point where you're like, one has been selected and then you move on in that direction. And I think it would be interesting to have a break now, and because I think there's so many different ways that it could go here. It's a really interesting point. And there's some other meetings today as well. So pass Deuce the other way, and then test. Go on.
I kind of enjoy this crude database that we have to store,
Yeah, it's
to store data as text. It's so crude, but
yeah.
I'm so enjoying it.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. So I'm going to push that up. I noticed Raphael had a comment there about detecting player 2 if it's no. I think absolutely, Raphael. There's so many interesting different things here, and of course, Raphael, if you want to refer to the code, all of the code is up on this repo here, both from last time and from this time. Should have all of the commits from today and everything.
Thanks.
There we go. Yeah, good stuff. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Raphael. Dimitri, good to catch up with you again. We'll see what we can do, if we can fit something in next week. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really fun to do it with you. So
yeah, likewise. Yeah. It's really, as I say, like, I think the way there's a kind of like the way it evolved and the symmetry, and yeah, I'm gonna blog about it, and we'll keep chatting. Good stuff. All right.
Okay.
Bye for now. Take care.
Ciao.